Looking back, it was staring us in the face the entire time. Who is the traitor on Egghead? The beauty of this mystery is that it can almost be anybody. I mean, we haven't seen Caribou in a while, and he's always been shifty. And are we 100% positive that we can trust Stussy? And for the very first time, a member of the Gorosei, Saint J. Garcia Saturn, has left Mary Jawar. We have no idea what his powers or capabilities are, so is there any way that he could be involved in the sudden sabotage happening at Egghead? All of these are valid ideas, but almost too easy. No. Let's just focus on the Vegapunks. After all, the type of sabotage that is happening on such a technologically advanced island as Egghead can't just be pulled off by anyone. It would have to be an inside. Chapter 1075 has all but confirmed that one of the Vegapunk satellites has ordered the Seraphim to destroy the remaining satellites as well as CP0. And yes, theoretically, the Seraphim could have been given the order by J. Garcia Saturn, who outranks the Vegapunks as a member of the Gorosei. But even if we ignore the fact that this would be a very odd way for Oda to announce his arrival on Egghead, the sabotage that is happening started while Saturn was still at sea, with someone dropping the Frontier Dome. Now Lilith has always been far too easy of a suspect, with her being the representation of evil to begin with. She seemed pretty broken up when she thought that Edison had been destroyed by S-Hawk, which would be an odd response for someone whose ultimate plan was to destroy all of these satellites to begin with. But more importantly, in 1075, she gave S-Snake an order, and it did not follow her, meaning that someone else had given it an order prior to that. So, Lilith is in the clear. Pythagoras and York are also in the clear, having both been attacked by S-Snake. Now this is where it gets tricky, because there's no evidence that clears Atlas per se, but I don't believe that her personality fits with the person who would pull something like this off. She seems reckless. Not to mention that for the past couple of chapters, people have been repairing her after she was attacked by Rob Lucci, which would give her even less time to orchestrate something like this. Now my two main suspects have always been Edison and Shaka. Edison, because when we first meet him, he is sending the Seraphim after the Straw Hats to kind of test them. Plus, immediately after that, he leaves the room saying that he just had a great new idea, but we never find out what that is. He is also the last Vegapunk satellite that we see successfully giving the Seraphim an order, telling them to quit fighting immediately. How much of a stretch is it to think that he could have given them another order after that, or a little bit later? Even his interactions with Brook and Nami in 1075 seem a little suspect, given that we've never seen Nami willingly leave money behind before. So, that could be Oda foreshadowing something down the line. Also, since he is traveling with Nami and Brook, if he does turn out to be the traitor, they wouldn't be that much of a threat to him, or at least not as much as someone like Sanji or Jinbei would. So he'd probably get away. Now Shaka has always been my number one suspect. First of all, he's wearing a mask, and in storytelling, the man with the mask is always mysterious, because usually the mask is hiding something important. Also, from the moment that we met him, he has been the Vegapunk who has seemed to be the most in control, even more so than the Stella body. Then there is the fact that he is the one who calls Dragon and not the Stella body. And the whole reason why he calls Dragon is to say that he feels that he's going to die soon. Meaning that he is the one Vegapunk satellite who would have the most motive to try to figure out how to avoid that. even if it meant sacrificing everyone else somehow. We've already seen him and Lilith argue a little bit, and so it wouldn't take much for him to be able to frame her as the bad guy if need be. Also, from a storytelling point of view, it would be interesting for Oda to explore how Shaka, being cold-hard logic, could be more sinister than Lilith as the personification of evil. But you know what? I don't think that the traitor on Egghead is Edison, and I don't think that it's Shaka either. There is still one person more cold-hearted and logical than Shaka could ever hope to be, and possibly more powerful. And that person is Dr. Vegapunk. Now, yeah, I know that many fans have already guessed that Dr. Vegapunk may be the traitor, but this is where they get it wrong. They think that the Stella body is the traitor, whereas I am fairly certain that the traitor is none other than Punk Records. Think about it. When Luffy learned that Dr. Vegapunk split up his brain because it was getting too big, he made a remark saying, "Are you dumb now because you split up your brain?" Obviously, this is a Luffy type of thing to say. But in an odd way, the answer is yes. The Vegapunk satellites are all geniuses, but they each lack what the other satellites have. Which means we never really met the true Dr. Vegapunk, even when we met the Stella body. We simply met parts of Dr. Vegapunk. He more or less confirms this early on by saying you would get his full personality if you combined all of the satellites. And in the writing world, that's what we call a Chekhov's gun, because what is the point of saying that if we never get to meet Dr. Vegapunk's true personality? Here's what I think happened. I think that Punk Records became sentient somehow. That's right, I think we're dealing with a rogue AI. I mean, Oda's already using all of the best tropes for a sci-fi story on Egghead Island. What is more sci-fi than a rogue artificial intelligence / smart house suddenly deciding that it's going to run everything? And what have the Stella body and the satellites been trying to do this whole time? They've been trying to escape Egghead, presumably leaving behind Punk Records. Now, if Punk Records is Vegapunk's brain and it sees the other 6 as satellites, how much do you want to bet that it also sees the Stella body as a satellite? And therefore sees all of the satellites as disposable because after all, it is the true Vegapunk. But wait, it gets deeper. I found it odd that in 1075, while the satellites were looking for the Stella body, they were pretty much showing the Straw Hats all of the inventions that they had made over the years. And there is a scene where Atlas explains how she got her face repaired because she's a robot and she can change her face whenever she wants to change her body parts, whatever. But then also in the same panel, Robin noticed artificially grown organs, and she says that she thought that they were Vegapunks and that someone had chopped them up. And of course you have the joke with Chopper saying, "Oh, you're so scary," because Robin always says morbid stuff like that. But here's the thing. In the past couple of chapters with Stussy, we have learned that Vegapunk has somewhat perfected clone technology. And yes, I know that the side effect of that is that every fan thinks that every character is a clone now. But what if Punk Records has used the homegrown organs and the clone technology to create a 7th Vegapunk satellite? And what if this one looks just like the Stella body? What if Punk Records, Dr. Vegapunk's true brain, has come to the conclusion that the Stella body no longer represents what Dr. Vegapunk is all about, and so now it wants to take back its place? It all makes sense, because not only would it explain who dropped the Frontier Dome, but it would also explain who has the Vegapunk level security clearance to order the Seraphim, especially when all of the satellites were in the same room. And this is where I get into my bonus theory. I think that somehow Usopp is going to save the day. And the reason why is because this little scene right here, where he jokes, "Oh, did I forget to say that I'm Vegapunk too?" And we know, we just know that if Usopp doesn't do nothing else, he's going to tell lies that come true eventually. And in a way, he's built for this. Because here's what I think is going to happen. I think there's going to come a moment when we're going to need Usopp to pretend to be a Vegapunk in order to tell the Seraphim to stand down. And here's how it may work. He may use some of the hologram technology that we saw earlier in Egghead to pretend to be one of the Vegapunk satellites. Either that, or he might use one of the Vegapunk replacement face mask or body parts that Atlas mentioned. So yeah, that's my entire theory. Either that, or the recycling dog did it. Yeah, that's probably what happened.